today's video, I want to show you a preset that I've put together to create big ambient drones, and it relies on a trick originally shared by Moke as part of the Fractal Audio Gift of Tone series that lets you use a single block and move its position relative to other blocks. It is really, really clever. Shout out to Moke. Moke makes some fantastic presets and has been a long time kind of all-around Fractal legend, especially on the forum. I've learned a lot from their posts on there, and the Gift of Tone presets, like a masterclass in how you can use the routing in the Axe effects to your advantage. So before we talk about it, it does look a little bit complicated. I want to show you how I use it, and I've basically set up capture and process scenes on here. So scene 3 and scene 4 are the main ones that I use. Basically, they're going to be using a pitch shifted reverb. So it's the stratocumulus reverb with some octave up and octave down pitch shifting in it, and then a multi-tap delay set up for a quad delay, but this motor speed parameter is mapped to a square wave LFO. So it's going to give you these kind of glitchy time stretch octave style effects on there. So you can see the looper kind of hanging out in here. The way I've set it up, I've set the record threshold so that when I hit this button over here, it's only going to start recording once I start playing. Very, very handy if you don't want to rely on syncing things up with your foot. So what I'm going to do is on that main scene, the reverb and the multi-delay are going to be on. And the way this is routed, they're going to feed into the looper. So I'm going to capture all that ambience. Then I'm going to go to scene 4, and the way this is routed, which we'll talk about in a minute, the loop, so all that reverb, all that kind of time stretched delay is then going to be fed back through the same reverb and time stretched delay. Pretty fun, right? So let's go over to scene 3, and I'm going to do some volume swells with an expression pedal, and we'll get the looper on and generally have a good time. Play you out with an extended example of that loop at the end of the video, but I do want to break this down before you get too bored with all the ambient noise. This is basically using the exact template that Moke put together, so full credit to Moke there. The trick is using the multiplexers and the send and return blocks in here. So the way I've done this, and you can see all the time-based effects are bypassed at the moment, is I've got a volume pedal going into a clean amp and cab. Then this is being routed to 2 places, to this multiplexer down here and to this multiplexer up here. So for what I've called the capture scenes in here, I want all this stuff, the reverb, the multi-delay, the pitch, the other delay block, when they're on, I want them to go into the looper. So this multiplexer here is selecting row 2. So the signal's coming in here, going through the amp and cab, it's hitting this multiplexer and it's being passed through. Then when I've got reverb and delay on, that's the processing part of it. Hits the send block and comes down to the return block over here. Once we're at the return block, this multiplexer here is selecting row 4, which is the return. So the multiplexer here, you can see its inputs are row 2 and row 4. So it's selecting row 4 there. So basically we've created a signal flow. I say we, Moke did it. Moke's so brilliant. We go up here, through the send, through the return, we go into the multiplexer and then into the looper. Now this multiplexer up here, you can see again, its input select is row 2. So it's ignoring this signal that's coming up from the looper. Then we've got a volume and pan block, and I've just placed a compressor right at the end with an infinite ratio to act as a limiter, because I am going to be building up a lot of time-based effects on there. Okay, now on the process side of things, what's going to happen is this multiplexer up here is going to select row 3, which is the looper, and this multiplexer here is going to select row 2. So the signal flow would look like this. You're going to come from the amp and cab, you're going to hit the looper, and then that's going to be run through this multiplexer through all the time-based effects, comes down here to the return, and then goes straight to the compressor. So that's what our process scene looks like. You can see here, this multiplexer is selecting row 2, so signal goes down here, through the looper, up through here, and through all our time-based effects. And a good way to test this is that if I use the dry capture and I create a little loop on there, something like this. If I turn a reverb block on here, I'm on the capture side of things, nothing should happen. This is just going to flow to the output. So I'll play that and then engage the reverb. So it works as intended. This trick can be used with just about any other block you like. You know, Moke used the pitch block in his preset. You could use a single delay. You could use, I guess, a ring modulator or something like that, and basically change the position of a single block in there. I'll give you a very simple example, though, where I select between the different scenes on here, going from capture to process, just with the reverb. I like this for volume swell. So again, I'm going to set up my little recording thing here, and we'll record and overdub some volume swells, and then I'll process them with the same reverb. Put this preset up on Exchange for you all to try out. Have some fun with it. Be sure to check out Moke's Gift of Tone, which I've also linked in the video description. Go and make some beautiful guitar noises, or some horrifying guitar noises, whatever you like. That's part of the fun with all of this. If you like what I'm doing on the channel as well, check the video description for a bunch of different ways to support what I'm doing. I'll let you hear some more of that ambient noodling to play you all out. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.